Welcome to the Backyard Bourbon Broadcast. Hey, remember me? I know, it's been a while. Honestly, it has been a very crazy 8 or 9 weeks, or however long it's been. Part of my absence is due to a mission trip / band gig I did over in Poland, Warsaw, actually specifically Zakasheli, which is south of Warsaw, and we visited several towns. There was, like I said, Warsaw, Zakasheli, Pietrkov. We even got to go to Krakow, and we saw Auschwitz. It was an incredible trip. I am in love with that country. Beautiful scenery, great people with kind hearts who even opened their homes up to us. We played cover songs like some Coldplay, Maroon 5, Lady Gaga, at all sorts of venues, bars, town squares, even a prom for special needs kids. I mean, oh man, you name it, we did it. It was a great time, and honestly, I can't wait to go back. It's a country I honestly wouldn't have thought would be that appealing. Never would have seen myself going there, but there it is, this great place just flying under the radar. So I loved it. Huge thanks to my wife, who pushed me several thousand miles outside my comfort zone and determined that I was going to go to Poland when I was asked, and who, even before I'd spent one day there, determined I was going back to Poland. At any rate, I could spend the whole day talking about Poland, and I have, actually, since I got back. But today's podcast is about 2 widows. The first is our bourbon. This is Widow Jane Straight Bourbon Whiskey, a single barrel, aged 10 years in American oak barrels, and gets its name from the Widow Jane mine in Rosendale, New York. And that's where it gets its pure limestone filtered water. It's a 2013 double gold medal winner in the San Francisco World Spirits Competition. From their handout, it says, quote, handcrafted in Red Hook, Brooklyn, with the pure, sweet water of the Widow Jane mine. It was limestone from this mine which built the Brooklyn Bridge, the Statue of Liberty, and the Empire State Building. Both urban and urbane, Widow Jane whiskey is New York's very own, the signature whiskey of the world's most magnificent and maddening metropolis. Okay, first of all, that's a lot of M's there at the end, but secondly, that's how you write a boilerplate, folks. No more of this drab crap from you Stratcom majors, alright? I could almost hear Elaine from Seinfeld saying that like she worked for J. Peterman, can't you? Both urban and urbane, whimsy and devil-may-care all rolled into one. Okay, so you know the theory that says to truly know something, you have to teach it. Well, my wife asked me a question, and I really had to think about it. She asked, why does it matter how long a bourbon ages? What does that do to the bourbon? And I said, well, geez, what does it do? How do you explain fuller body or depth of character when it comes to taste? Really, to understand that, you have to have had tasted a lot of bourbons, right? To put that into words is really difficult, but I'm going to try. Imagine leaving out a can of pop or soda, depending on where you live in the US, for a day and let it get flat and lukewarm. You take a swig of that after a day and you're going to have one unappealing tasting experience, right? Why is that? Well, because the pop is flat, the fizz is gone, it's lukewarm, it has no oomph, it has no complexity, no layers. Those things that make up character and all the things that have taste. It's just that with bourbon, like wine, the longer the bourbon ages, the more character it develops and the better it tastes. Pop needs to be fresh, bourbon needs to be old. Not that you leave it uncapped or anything, but if you're a wine drinker, also you know, or should know, like when you open a bottle, you let it breathe for 20 minutes or so. Pouring it as soon as it is opened really cheats the wine from tasting as good as it possibly can. Same thing with bourbon as far as aging in those barrels. The longer it's in there, the better it tastes. Okay, so let's get to the point. Did I like the bourbon or not? Well, I loved this bourbon. This bourbon had character, complexity, even a little bite that might make you think it was a higher proof than the 91. It's bottled at a 45.5%. I even have to say I was a little bit upset with myself that it took me this long to get my sample, get to this sample provided by the wonderful folks at Widow Jane. Folks, this is really good bourbon. This is great bourbon. I have had several distillers send me samples, and well, the ones that really are putting their money where their mouth is send me the full 750 bottles. Thank you very much. And Widow Jane was one of those. This is the first one I was simply floored by. They have got it all right there at Widow Jane. The bottle shape is unique, the marketing spot on, and above all else, the taste is amazing. This is, hands down, one of my all-time favorite bourbons, no question about it. In fact, my favorite so far in the last couple of months has been the Wild Turkey 101, you know that. But this one is right up there with it. They're different proofs, so it's kind of hard to compare apples to oranges there, but this is great bourbon. On the nose, you've got hints of toffee and butter. The taste, like I said, could confuse you that it's maybe at 100 proof, even though it's only at 45.5. Has a long finish where you really pick up the character of that charred oak, that flavor. This is a great bourbon, folks, and I really, really think you're going to like it. That's God's honest truth there. I know they provided me the bottle, but they didn't require me to say anything, and I really like this bourbon. Okay. Now, let's get on to my favorite widow, very near and dear to my heart, my grandmother, affectionately called Granny Bell by all those that knew and loved her. She died almost 2 months ago at the age of 88. She had been married to my grandfather for 49 and a half years and had spent the last 21 years after he died as his widow. She was a fun-loving, picture-taking, somewhat bossy woman who loved her family very much. She was an eternal optimist, always looking on the bright side of things. Like my uncle said, if she had a bad day, well, it was the best bad day she'd ever had. She survived breast cancer and a double mastectomy and kept on trucking. She was always doing whatever her grandkids were doing until she just physically wasn't able to do it anymore. I will always treasure the couple of summers I went to stay with them at their home in western Colorado when I was a kid in elementary school. My grandfather had an old saddle he put on a bench for me, and I put a couple thousand miles on that thing, riding the range, as it were, as my grandmother took pictures, took me all over Craig, cleaned the house, made lunch. Just one of those special times in my life. I'll also never forget being beside her the day before she died, holding her hand and telling her that she had fought the good fight. She's almost done with her race. My mom shared a picture of both of them on an inflatable tire, what we used to ride down before they made sleds, plastic sleds. They were riding down a snowy hillside in Craig, Colorado back in the 80s, and both of them are just laughing and falling down the hill at about 100 miles an hour. And if you had to choose one picture that defined Granny Bell's entire life, I think it would be that one. Going full force without care for age or danger, enjoying every moment with the full realization of how precious each moment was. Man, to have that kind of clarity and sense of purpose each day, right? That's one of the many things I now pray for. A drive to live each day intentionally, savoring every moment. Pray that for all of us. Well, Granny Bell's in heaven now, and I firmly believe that. And one day, I'll see her again. And I firmly believe that as well. Well, that'll about do it for today's episode. I do hope you enjoyed our show. A very special thanks goes out to the good folks up in Red Hook, Brooklyn for providing today's bourbon, the incredible Widow Jane Straight Bourbon Whiskey. As always, I'd also like to thank the Jingle Punks for the music you're hearing right now. You can find their free music on the YouTube audio library. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Twitter. I put a lot of beautiful pictures I take for each podcast on there, and I think you'll enjoy them. That's it. God bless, and remember the precious widows in your life, and whatever beverage you choose to enjoy it responsibly. Also, get your pet spayed or neutered. Post no bills. All rights reserved. Cash only. No refills. Signing here is not an admission of guilt. Pedestrians have the right of way. I'm out of order. You're out of order. This whole court's out of order. No shirt, no shoes, no service. The red zone is for loading, unloading passengers only. Do not pass go. Do not collect no $200.